In this video, I'm going to go through the 5 big warning signs that could ruin your business, cause you to go bust. What can we do about them so that we avoid that happening to us? I've gone through these as well, and I constantly have them come up again and again and again. I've worked out systems and processes to avoid them. I want to share them with you so that you can swipe and deploy them into your entrepreneurial journey. Warning sign number 1 is constraints on capital, not having enough cash flow around the business. The model means that you may be being paid 60, 90 days and you've got these big customers that owe you lots and lots of money. Now, in my business, we're always owed millions of pounds, and that is really, really stressful. What I've tried to do is build an ecosystem, a model of businesses where we have some cash coming in each and every single day, and we don't have to rely on customers paying us all the time. Understanding cash flow and how to generate cash flow is what the super successful do. The best investment I think a highly driven entrepreneur can make is to employ an accountant before you can afford it. And I've always done this. I've employed bookkeepers and accountants in-house, having them full-time at your fingertips to help you create cash flow, chasing debt, helping you raise finance at the best possible price. If you go to a bank manager and say, look, this is my full-time accountant that works for me, that bank manager is really excited to work with you because they know that in your armory, you've got someone that's very good at numbers. I don't think entrepreneurs plan early enough. They think they're going to be all right, so they don't plan to bring in cash before they need it. They only go for it when they really need it. And we really need to flip that mentality. If you think you're going to need money in 6-9 months' time, now's the time to do it, not in 5 months' time. For someone that's raised tens of millions of pounds over my career, I always allow a year to get a loan over the line. And if I get it over the line in 6 months, then that's great. But if you think in a year process to raise capital, you're getting much closer to where you need to be. Constraints on capital kill businesses. Even if you're profitable, if you're owed lots of money and you're not getting paid, that can be a big problem. You've got to work out how to deal with that. And I think bringing an accountant in-house, understanding numbers, producing a monthly profit and loss, understanding your cash flow, and be a master of raising finance is how you can sail through the storms. If you look at all the greats, Richard Branson, Steve Jobs, Walt Disney, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, these titans of industry have always had an affectionate skill in raising capital for all their dreams and desires. And that's what you've got to get good at. How do you do it? You get a numbers person in your armory to help you do it. Warning sign number 2 is constraints on talent. Listen, I've always said the formula for business success is entrepreneurship plus management equals success. The best analogy that I can give is a school needs a head teacher and teachers for everything to work as an ecosystem. The head teacher's doing the leadership role, deciding where the school's going, and the teachers are doing the day-to-day. For an entrepreneur to have absolute faith to go and grow their business and take it into stratosphere, they will only ever do that if in their subconscious brain they know they've got effective management, and the word effective is really important here, effective management within the business to drive it forward. I find that entrepreneurs that go bust just don't have great management. They try and do everything themselves. And they might do that because they can't afford it. They think, well, I can't afford a general manager, I can't afford a PA, I can't afford an FD. But you can't afford not to have those things. And they find creative ways, like I did, to afford those things. Maybe you have to offer them equity in the future, bonuses. Maybe you have to pay them before you pay yourself, which is a massive barrier that so many people can't get over. But I'll tell you this, go and do some research on super successful people, and you'll see that they were paying management before they were paying themselves. They delay gratification, their payday. And that's why entrepreneurs and business owners usually get their reward when they sell their business rather than running their business. It's very, very true that the real wealth comes from selling assets rather than looking after assets. And in this form, I'm talking about businesses. So you've got to get really good at attracting talent into your business. Talent wants to work for good people. Talent wants to go where there's a good vision around the business that's regularly repeated, that they know that they're going to be a part of. And it really comes down to B times do equals have. Who have you got to become? What have you got to do to have all the things that you want to have? So if you want to have capital to help your business grow, you've got to have talent around you so that investors, stakeholders, banks believe in lending money to you and know that they're going to get it back because of the talent that you've got working for you. But that talent only wants to work with you when you become the best possible version of yourself. Which neatly brings me on to the third point, which is constraints on the captain's brain. Think of your business as a big ship on the ocean, and you're sailing that ship and you're the captain of that ship. You've got to avoid the storms. You've got to plot the best course to get to your destination, and everyone on that ship needs to know what that destination is. But if the captain loses the plot, if the captain doesn't motivate people in choppy waters to keep going and get through those choppy waters, then you're going to get mutiny. People aren't going to want to support you. Stakeholders, team, customers, the whole kit caboodle. So you've got to make sure that you're working on yourself as best you possibly can. There's a great book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of the points in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is about sharpening your sword. If you're going to go and chop some trees down, the smart thing to do before you go and chop the trees down is sharpen your sword so that you're most effective and efficient when chopping those trees down. And we want to steal that analogy into running our business. And the saw is our brain. We've got to make it so good. We've got to read the books, go to the seminars, do all the right personal development stuff so that you become a highly effective person. And then you will attract the talent. Then you will attract the capital. Most people don't do this stuff. And you've got to get good at it. You've got to put a serious amount of time into it. You've got to always be learning. You've got to be a sponge soaking up knowledge. And here's the thing that I've also learned. Highly effective people listen to people that are better than them. They don't go to the naysayers, the mood hoovers, and the toxic individuals. They go to people that have been there, done it, and got the metaphorical t-shirt and are ahead of them. And most human beings don't do that. They just don't do that. They go to their friends, their family that have never done anything that you want to achieve. So if I want advice, I need to ask for someone that's got a business 3 times the size of mine. I need to go to someone that's a bank manager that can handle businesses 3 times the size of mine. And I've got to go and seek them and find out who they are. And you might think, well, they won't talk to me. I'm not at that stage right now. But again, do your research. Find out these amazing individuals that have succeeded in life. And they go and seek those people. They ask 100 times, knowing that they're going to get 90 rejections and 10 good yeses. They put 10,000 hours of practice into mastery. They don't try and do everything themselves. They buy in other people's 10,000 hours of practice. But other people's 10,000 hours of practice want to work for someone that's got a good brain, that is a good captain. So working on yourself is the next thing that is going to make you highly effective and make sure that you don't go bust. Warning sign number 4 is lack of innovation. I've always said in business, if you don't innovate, you're going to evaporate, because the marketplace is in a constant process of innovation. I always say this, if you're still selling fax machines today, you're going to find that very difficult to be in business. And so you've got to make sure that the business is moving through a constant process of innovation. Some businesses that's easier to do than others. Fashion is a classic example of constant innovation. But sometimes innovation could be just great customer service. Look what Netflix done to blockbusters. Very simple innovation, satisfying a customer's needs. Remember, the marketplace is always innovating, even when you're at the top of your game. And this is where lots of companies go really wrong. If you'd have said to someone in the 1980s, Thomas Cook, which was a big travel agent here in the UK, would go bust in 25 years' time, they'd think you're crazy. They were one of Britain's greatest success stories. But they stopped innovating. They stopped making sure they had the right talent around them. They stopped going to new destinations. And if you go back 140 years in that business, they were a local tour business that then innovated into train tourism and then international tourism before anyone else was doing it. And then they got sluggish and they got slow. And we're seeing this with lots of other companies right now. They get really good. They get to the top of their game, and then they lack the innovation. And that's usually where the entrepreneur comes in, by the way. You see this with Steve Jobs, what he done to Apple. One of the greatest innovators of all time. Elon Musk today, whether you like him or loathe him, what he is doing is innovating on the constant. You got to do it before everyone else. And innovation is a constant process, even when you think you don't need to do it, because the marketplace is always looking to out-innovate. Number 5 is the story of one. And I see this in so many companies. They're hugely profitable, but they have customer concentration, talent concentration, or revenue concentration. Let me explain it. One big customer, one key member of staff, one location, one product, one revenue stream. And what can happen in those situations? People start resting on their laurels, especially with one big customer. They go, cool, look, we're making lots of money. We're servicing this one big customer. We're really looking after them. We're taking good care of them. and then that customer goes bust or sells or decides they don't want to trade anymore or just go to a different supplier. Even if you think you've got the best relationship with them, the thing is a moving beast. And so my rule in business is no more than 10% of your revenue should come from any one customer. Now, if you're watching this today going, oh my God, we've got a big customer and half of our revenue comes from them, you don't sack them. What you do is you dilute their dominance over your business and you go and find 4 other big customers so that if you lose them, you're not out the game. And I promise you, I have had conversations with grown men crying their eyes out because they're losing their business because they've lost their one big customer. Never ever let that folly happen to you. And also one product, one key member of staff that you just think's amazing, so you don't employ anyone else because you want to keep the cash for yourself. But you've got to always be building your talent pool up so that you're not self-reliant on one person and one revenue, one product. I mean, God, look, could you imagine if Apple just kept on making the iPod? Because they're always innovating and creating new products, they don't rely on just one product line. They have 12, 15 key product lines. I want to tell you a little story about Microsoft, which really sort of brings a conclusion to this little segment. Microsoft have no constraints on capital. They've got so much money, tens of billions of cash just sitting there. They actually can't deploy their capital because they haven't got enough talent to manage all the things that they want to do. Funny situation. I think lots of business owners would love to be in this situation because usually business owners have all the ideas and they think they have the people, but they don't just have the capital available to go and execute those things. As a business becomes more established, certainly like mine, actually getting access to capital becomes easier because you've got years of trade behind you, you've got profitable accounts, people trust you more. It then becomes about finding the best possible talent to come and help in your business. I've got some advice on that. Sometimes it's not just the amount of money you pay someone. Sometimes you can overpay people, and I've had people that have been on good salaries and been absolutely useless, and it's taken us 100 days to work out that they can't bring enough to the party and they shouldn't be here. And so when you do employ talent, and I'm not talking about the technicians in your business. If you think about your business, you've got technicians, management and leadership, an entrepreneur, ownership at the top. Removing technicians, your front of house staff, your frontline staff. Think about the leadership and management in your business. I use this rule of 10. Whatever you pay someone, they need to bring into the business 10 times that value in either savings for your business. So an accountant could do that for you. They could come into your business and go, well, if we did this, this and this, we'll save on those loans, we'll bring those utility bills down so we can go and get this. Or you could remove those people. So they bring you 10 times worth of savings into your business through being smarter on procurement. 10 times worth of value add in terms of revenue. So a good salesperson in a business or a good marketeer, you could pay them £30,000 and they bring £300,000 worth of sales and marketing value. An accountant on £40,000 could bring £400,000 worth of efficiency savings. 10 times value of R&D, because I've got people that work for me that are not responsible for revenue, they're not responsible for procurement savings, but they've got great ideas that could generate us 10 times the value of their business. Maybe in our ice cream business, they know how to create new products that the marketplace is going to absolutely love. So that rule of 10 is really good. 10 times worth of R&D value, 10 times worth of savings, or 10 times worth of top line revenue, or 10 times worth of profit. If you've got a member of staff and you brought them in and you're paying them £30,000, you think they're not and they're not a technician. This is someone that's, a management leadership person in the business, and they're not bringing in that 10 times value to your business. You've got to question whether they should be there. And that's really important. It's a good acid test. I hope you liked this video. Some little tips from me. Lots of my thoughts I put in my newsletter as well. Every Monday morning at 7 a.m. I release a newsletter for business owners so they can see what I'm thinking in the week. People really like it. You can get it for free on my website, jamessinclair.net, and just sign up for the letter. And I'll see you in your inbox 7 a.m. every Monday morning to start your week to help grow your business. See you soon.
Perfect.